Okay, it's that time of year again. You've got the new shoes, you've set that big, ambitious goal. Maybe it's a 5K, maybe it's a full marathon, and you are just so ready to go. But, if you're like most of us, this whole story probably feels a little familiar. So let's dive into this common cycle and figure out how we can finally break it.
Does this sound like you? This is the classic story for almost anyone starting a new running journey. You go all in, you're full of motivation, you're pushing yourself every single day. And then, bam, a little tweak in your knee, a sharp pain in your shin, and all that amazing momentum just grinds to a halt.
It's such a frustrating question, isn't it? Every single year, we start out with the absolute best intentions, but we so often end up in the exact same spot. Sidelined, disappointed, and back on the couch. So what is this trap that we keep falling into?
Well, it turns out our greatest strength, that incredible can-do-anything New Year's motivation, is actually our biggest weakness. We're so eager to make up for lost time and start fresh, but that powerful urge can actually steer us completely off course.
This slide just nails the gap between our dreams and what actually happens. Over on the left, that's the ideal. Steady, injury-free progress. But on the right, well, that's the all-too-common reality. We push too hard, we burn out or get injured, and then we quit. It's this boom and bust cycle that's fueled entirely by that first burst of enthusiasm.
Yeah, the source material has a great phrase for this. It's like we become our own black company, which is a term for a super exploitative, terrible workplace. We become our own worst boss. We feel guilty if we take a day off. We think we have to be training all the time. But without a clear plan, we just end up exhausted, stressed out, and with absolutely nothing to show for it.
So how do we fix this? Everyone gives the same advice, right? Start slow, build up gradually. It sounds so simple, but that little piece of advice leads to the single biggest question that trips up almost every single new runner.
Exactly. What is slow? What does gradually even mean? Is it running 1 extra minute? Is it 1 extra kilometer? Without a concrete definition, this advice is pretty much useless. So what do? We just go back to pushing too hard because, hey, at least it feels like we're making progress.
The author of the article we're looking at faced this exact problem. He was training for a marathon, and he did something that sounds kind of crazy. He intentionally took a full week off. He just didn't run. He let his body completely reset. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's totally counterintuitive, right? Taking time off to get better? But wait till you see the data. It tells a really fascinating story.
Okay, so what happened after that week off? Take a look at this table. His recent training stress, the work he'd done in the last few days, went straight to 0, obviously. Now his long-term fitness foundation, think of that as the deep well of stamina he'd built up for weeks, it dropped a little bit, which you'd expect. But here's the key. The stress ratio, which is the balance between those two, also hit 0. He had created a perfect clean slate to start rebuilding from, but this time he was going to do it the smart way.
And this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole explainer. There is a way to measure gradually. Just think of it like an overtraining meter for your body, a simple tool that can tell you very clearly when you're pushing it too hard.
Now, this isn't some super complicated scientific metric. At its heart, it's just a score, a number that answers one simple question. Is the amount of work I'm doing right now a good match for the level of fitness my body has actually built up over time? That's it.
And here's how it works, illustrated perfectly. The meter simply divides your recent training stress, so the hard work you've put in over the last few days, by your fitness foundation, which is all the work you've done over the last month or so. It's a ratio. See, it's not about how fast or how far you ran. It's all about the balance between your short-term effort and your long-term conditioning.
So now that we have this awesome tool, how in the world do we use it? Well, the good news is there are some very simple, very clear rules that can guide your training and, most importantly, keep you out of that danger zone.
This chart right here, this is the key to everything. This shows you the Goldilocks zone for growth. If your score is below 1.0, you're in recovery mode, maybe taking it a little too easy. If it's above 1.3, you should hear alarm bells ringing. That's the injury risk zone. But that sweet spot, that green zone between 1.0 and 1.3, that, my friends, is where you get stronger, fitter, and faster, safely.
So here's the crucial part. If you see your score creep up over 1.3, that is not a sign of failure. It's just a signal from your body to ease up a bit. Your job isn't to push through the pain, it's to listen. So the next day, just go for a light, easy jog.
Skip the really intense stuff like sprints or a super long run. Just wait until that score comes back down into that safe, optimal green zone before you push hard again.
You know, this whole idea leads to a really fundamental shift in how we think about training. We're always asking, what's the best workout? Is it the fastest sprints, the longest run? But maybe, just maybe, we're asking the wrong question entirely.
This right here is the single most important takeaway. The most powerful, the most effective, the most transformative training plan you can have isn't the one with the gnarliest workouts. No, it's the one you can actually do week after week, month after month without getting hurt. Consistency is the real secret weapon.
So let's put it all together. The goal isn't just to get better, it's to stay healthy enough so you can keep getting better. We know the #1 enemy is that too much, too soon trap. But now, instead of just guessing, we can use our overtraining meter to guide us. By keeping that score in the green, that sweet spot between 1.0 and 1.3, we trade burnout for safe, steady growth. And that is what creates the ultimate superpower in running: consistency.
So the next time you head out for a run, don't just ask yourself how fast you went or how far you ran. Ask yourself this instead: am I training today in a way that lets me show up and do this again next week? Because that is the question that will ultimately decide whether or not you reach your goal.